Welcome to News Beacon, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Energy powers everything, our homes, industries, and the very fabric of modern life. Control over energy isn't just about economics, it's about global influence, shaping alliances, and determining the fate of nations. The world's new great game isn't about conquering land or drawing new borders, it's about controlling the flow of energy that powers our lives. In the 21st century, energy dominance is the new currency of global power, and the two main players are the United States and China. Their rivalry is reshaping not just markets but the very foundation of international relations. The US leans on its vast reserves of oil and natural gas, using its energy abundance as both shield and sword. Through energy deals, strategic partnerships, and sanctions, America seeks to maintain its superpower status. Its pipelines stretch across continents, and its oil tankers crisscross the oceans, ensuring that American influence is felt in every corner of the globe. For decades, this fossil fuel dominance has underpinned the US economy and its global leadership. China, meanwhile, is betting its future on clean energy. The country is pouring hundreds of billions into solar farms, wind turbines, and cutting-edge battery technology. Chinese engineers and companies are racing to lead the green revolution, aiming to dominate the industries that will define the next century. By investing in renewables, China hopes to break free from dependence on imported oil and gas, and to set the global standard for sustainable energy. These competing strategies are forcing countries around the world to make tough choices. Should they stick with America's tried-and-true fossil fuels, or pivot toward China's rapidly advancing green technologies? For many nations, the decision isn't just about energy, it's about aligning with a vision for the future and choosing which superpower to trust. The US reinforces the old order, doubling down on oil and gas, while China offers a bold alternative, a future built on renewables and innovation. This isn't just a technological race, it's a contest of ideologies, with each side hoping to shape the world in its own image. The stakes are enormous. This is more than economics, it's a global realignment, as new alliances and rivalries form around energy. International summits and backroom deals are now battlegrounds where the future of energy is negotiated, and where the balance of power is constantly shifting. The choices made today, by governments, industries, and individuals, will shape the world's power structure for decades to come. The energy decisions of this era will determine not just who leads, but how we live, work, and connect. The battle for energy is, at its core, a battle for the future. As America and China face off, the world watches, knowing that the outcome will define the next chapter of human progress. China's clean energy dominance is no accident. It's the result of decades of focused investment and industrial policy. By controlling every step of the solar supply chain, China now produces over 80% of the world's solar panels, making solar power cheaper than ever. This scale has transformed global energy, making renewables accessible worldwide. With its domestic market secured, China has set its sights on the world stage, exporting affordable clean technology to developing nations at an unprecedented scale. This is not just about selling products, it's about shaping the future of global energy, and in the process, redefining international relationships. As Chinese solar panels, wind turbines, and batteries leave the country's ports, they are lighting up homes, powering businesses, and transforming entire communities across continents. Through these exports, China is building influence and forging new dependencies, as recipient countries increasingly rely on Chinese technology and expertise to fuel their own development. These partnerships often go beyond simple trade, involving joint ventures, training programs, and long-term service agreements that tie local economies to Beijing's industrial engine. In 2024, a remarkable 43% of China's clean tech exports were destined for emerging markets, nearly doubling from just 22% 2 years earlier. This rapid growth highlights not only China's manufacturing prowess, but also the surging demand for affordable, renewable energy solutions in the global south. Africa, for example, has experienced a 60% surge in Chinese solar imports, a figure that represents more than just numbers on a chart. It means new opportunities for millions of people who previously lived without reliable electricity, and a chance for entire regions to leapfrog fossil fuels and embrace a cleaner, more sustainable future. In rural villages, solar panels are bringing electricity to millions for the very first time. Children can study after dark, families can power small businesses, and communities can access information and services that were once out of reach. In Asia and Latin America, Chinese investment is fueling solar booms, with vast new solar farms rising from the ground and entire regions transitioning to renewable energy at a pace that would have seemed impossible just a decade ago. Alongside solar panels, China is helping to build the power lines, substations, and energy infrastructure needed to deliver electricity to cities and remote areas alike, laying the foundation for long-term economic growth and stability. This global strategy keeps China's factories humming, providing jobs for millions of workers and ensuring that the country remains at the heart of the world's clean energy supply chain. At the same time, it wins goodwill and trust, embedding Beijing deeply in the economies and societies of the global South. These projects are often celebrated by local communities who see tangible improvements in their daily lives. By addressing energy poverty and providing the tools for sustainable development, China is quietly but profoundly reshaping the global order. One solar panel, one village, and one partnership at a time. This is soft power in action, delivered not through words or military might but through light, opportunity, and progress, illuminating a new path for the world's emerging economies. The U.S. is doubling down on oil and gas, using its production power to shape global energy flows. By rolling back regulations and ramping up drilling, America has become the world's top oil producer and a major LNG exporter. This gives Washington leverage, offering allies secure energy and reducing dependence on rivals like Russia. Deals like the $750 billion EU agreement strengthen U.S. ties and weaken adversaries. But this focus on fossil fuels comes at a cost. The U.S. is falling behind in renewables, ceding the clean energy race to China. Critics warn this is a short-term play, risking America's future competitiveness. The U.S. is betting on a world that stays hooked on oil and gas. The U.S. is weaponizing energy with sanctions and tariffs, targeting rivals and even allies to enforce its interests. Recent sanctions on Chinese oil terminals sent shockwaves through global markets, spiking fuel prices and exposing vulnerabilities. Even partners like India face tariffs for buying Russian oil, straining relationships and forcing tough choices. This economic pressure is reshaping alliances and making energy a tool of coercion. The message is clear. Energy decisions have political consequences. For many, the cost of defying Washington is steep. The global energy market is now a battlefield. Europe is caught between U.S. fossil fuel pressure and China's flood of cheap green tech. Long-term American oil and gas deals secure energy but clash with Europe's climate goals. Meanwhile, Chinese electric vehicles and solar panels threaten European industries, sparking trade tensions. Europe needs Chinese tech for its green transition but fears overdependence. It values its U.S. alliance but resists being locked into fossil fuels. Now, Europe is scrambling for strategic autonomy, building its own clean tech to reduce reliance on both superpowers. Europe's choices will define its future role in the world. The continent is walking a tightrope in the new energy order. For the global South, the U.S.-China energy rivalry is both a challenge and an opportunity. China offers affordable solar, wind, and electrification, solutions for urgent development needs. The U.S. offers market access and security but with strings attached and political conditions. Tariffs on India for buying Russian oil show the risks of crossing Washington. Many developing nations want to avoid choosing sides, seeking the best deal from both. Their decisions will shape the global balance of power. The global South is now a key battleground in the energy race. The world stands at a pivotal crossroads, facing a monumental decision that will shape the future of energy for generations to come. Two powerful and competing visions are emerging, each with its own promises, challenges, and consequences. The choices we make today will not only determine how we power our homes and industries, but also how we address climate change, economic growth, and global influence. This is more than a technical debate. It's a defining moment for humanity's relationship with the planet and with each other. On one side, there is the U.S. path, a vision built on the continued dominance of fossil fuels like oil and natural gas. This approach emphasizes energy independence, national security, and the economic leverage that comes from controlling traditional energy resources. For decades, this model has powered American prosperity and given the U.S. a central role in global energy markets. Supporters argue that fossil fuels remain reliable, affordable, and essential for economic stability, especially as the world faces uncertainty and rising energy demands. On the other side is the China path, a bold push toward renewables, technological leadership, and a reimagined energy future. China is investing heavily in solar, wind, and battery technologies, aiming to become the world's clean energy superpower. This strategy promises to reduce carbon emissions, create new industries, and set global standards for the next era of energy. Yet it also introduces new dependencies, as countries around the world increasingly rely on Chinese technology, supply chains, and expertise. If America's model prevails, oil and gas will remain at the heart of the global energy system. This could slow the transition to cleaner sources, prolonging the world's reliance on carbon-intensive fuels and reinforcing existing power structures. The environmental costs could be significant, with continued greenhouse gas emissions and the risk of missing critical climate targets. But for some, the stability and predictability of fossil fuels outweigh the risks of rapid change. If China's model wins out, the world could accelerate its shift to renewables, potentially slashing emissions and opening new economic opportunities. However, this path is not without its own risks. A global dependence on Chinese technology and manufacturing could create new vulnerabilities, as nations find themselves tied to a single supplier for critical energy infrastructure. Questions about transparency, labor practices, and geopolitical influence loom large. Both futures carry profound risks: environmental, economic, and geopolitical. The stakes are high. Climate change threatens communities worldwide, energy prices can destabilize economies, and the struggle for technological supremacy could deepen global divides. No path is without compromise, and the world must weigh short-term gains against long-term consequences. Yet this rivalry is also a powerful engine for innovation. Competition between the US and China is driving rapid advances in energy technology, from cleaner fuels to smarter grids. But it is also creating new fault lines, as countries are pressured to choose sides or risk being left behind in the next energy revolution. For the rest of the world, especially developing nations, the challenge is to harness the benefits of both models without becoming pawns in a larger geopolitical game. These countries seek affordable, reliable energy to fuel growth and lift people out of poverty, but must navigate a landscape shaped by the ambitions of global superpowers. The ideal future is a multipolar world, where nations cooperate rather than compete, sharing technology, resources, and knowledge to build a more sustainable and equitable energy system. True progress will require collaboration, trust, and a willingness to look beyond narrow national interests. For now, the future of global energy hangs in the balance. The choices we make in the coming years will echo for decades, shaping not just how we power our world, but how we live, work, and thrive together on this planet.